I think we are live now.
Willkommen, willkommen.
Yeah. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone is doing well. So today is Friday night. It is chat night with Mr. Cannonman Gaming.
Hello.
So, ladies and gentlemen, please don't, if you can and if you're willing, don't forget to hit that like, comment, share, and subscribe. Will be really appreciated. And then another thing is go check out Cannonman Gaming's channel. I've put a link to his channel in the links or the descriptions below. So please go check it out. I did remember to do it this time. so basically what we're going to do here, we're just going to run through a week's dev blogs. We don't do this every week. We only do this when there's interesting things and things we think, or when it's reasonable news. Let's put it along that way.
When there's stuff to talk about.
Yeah, so that's what we basically do, and we just run through it, all the news. Not everything. We don't get into the Chinese dev blogs and the Chinese data mines and all of that shit. We talk about only what is basically on their page.
Publicly available and
Yes.
easily accessible.
Yeah, we're not going to go believe some shit that the Chinese are going to say, or that some guy found on YouPorn site about War Thunder, and that we are only working off of this, so we don't run on a Cannonman.
I don't even know what word like you were trying to go for there.
Speculation.
Speculation, okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like specializations, specifications, specifics.
No, we only go on
any number of words there.
We only go on what we get from War Thunder. We don't clickbait, so yeah, not like other YouTubers out there. We're not going to mention names. They can make 10 videos a day on something he read on Wikipedia. So
yeah.
Cannonman, over to you.
Cool. Welcome, guys. As Easy said, we're going to be going through the devlog stuff that sort of has come over the last, I think it's about a week and a half now, almost. And the first one. So how we're going to do it is we're going to roll with it from the bottom up. So we're going to go from the earliest one through to the most recent one. And I will say, like, I watched the dev stream. And I actually kind of regret it, but I watched the dev stream today, and it was
short.
The two of them tried very hard, and it's not their fault. I don't think it was ideal conditions or circumstances at all, but it's just the content-wise of the dev stream, the stuff that I saw and the stuff that they showcased. There were only a handful of things that kind of jumped out at me, if I'm going to be honest. And we're going to go through some of those today between myself and Easy. And we'll try and keep it as objective as possible, as factual as possible. And we'll kind of speculate a little bit in terms of what we would like and what we sort of based on things that we know. But it's not going to be anything like, oh, the F-18 is going to get the M9X in this update, or they're going to bring the F-22 and we just didn't see it. And we're not gonna speculate shit like that. We're just gonna stick to what we know. Maybe stray a little bit off of that topic, but by and large, stick to the guns, so to speak. And that segues into HMS Warspite, which is a ship I have been beyond looking forward to coming to the game. She is very beautiful, and I will fong anybody who says otherwise.
You know what? You're actually a very lucky bastard. You know that. Sorry, I'm using a very bad English word there, a very horrible English word. But you are freaking lucky. I wanted the Roy Falk and the Mi-24 Super High coming to the game, and what happened to both of them?
Premium and squadron vehicle.
Precisely. And you want the Warspite coming in, and it comes in the tech tree.
And I got it. I got it as a tech tree. Yeah, motherfuckers. But like, really, this ship for me, and I think I'll take this one, just because this particular vessel is very, very dear to me. So I am a massive World War II nerd. I love history, period, but particularly that area or era of time. And Warspite has quite a special place because Warspite's the first battleship that I really remember like quite strongly. Like I read about lots of battleships like the Dulio, like the Colbert, all of these other battleships, the Bismarck, the Hood. Well, the Hood's a battle cruiser and Bismarck's not really a battleship, but you get the idea. Like I read about all of these other vessels in this book that I had that was like, you know, those old Bibles that you get the Duomini that has like this Bible that's like an A3 page. You know, it was that kind of size and thickness. So I had this book that was World War II based, and the Warspite was one of the few ships, I think, other than the Hood, that I very strongly recall reading about in this World War II history book that was as big as a A3 Bible. And she's got a very impressive service history. She was part of Task Force Z. She was also part of, I believe it was Task Force 99. So she was part of the ships that both went not only to the Pacific, if I'm not mistaken, but she was definitely also part of the task force that was assembled to hunt the Bismarck. And she played a massive role in the Atlantic as well as the Pacific. The Pacific less so, but more so the Mediterranean and the Atlantic Ocean. She protected very many convoy ships going through those passages during wartime, which were crucial to the war effort, you know, just supplying men and equipment to the fronts that were needed. She also participated, I believe she participated in D-Day. Let me just double check that.
Yes, she was in D-Day as well.
Yeah, so she would have then participated as, so Warspite opened fire on D-Day 1944, sorry, and she, you know, participated in that. And she's just a really decorated ship all around, and she is one of the few British ships that is as well known as, say, the HMS Hood. Like, if you go up to anybody who is vaguely interested in the era and you go, do you know HMS Hood? They'll be like, yes, we know HMS Hood. She sunk when the Bismarck got a lucky shot on her magazine. And if you go to another bunch of people that are vaguely interested and you go, do you know HMS Warspite? They'll go, that name sounds familiar, and it's rightly so. She's a very, very famous ship. But let's quickly, enough with the history lesson, let's quickly get onto what she possesses in terms of
just
firepower.
Quickly, I want to say, put some 5 cents quickly. If someone has to come to me and say, do you know the HMS Hood? Yes. Do you know the HMS Royal Oak? Yes. Do you know the Bismarck? Yes. Do you know the Tirpitz? Yes. And if they come to me and they say the Warspite, I'll say, why are you crying?
Yeah, I suppose that's also fair.
Because I don't know this ship. It's really, as the way Canonman's talking about this, this ship is really something that does not get the attention like the more modern ships of those times. Yeah, very underspoken, and you've been talking a lot about it since it's been announced. So, and I don't mean that.
You just ask easy. I have not shut up about the Warspite since I saw the dev blog. I've been so excited.
I've got
actually more excited than I was for the Rodney to come, which is saying quite a lot because the Rodney's also a very impressive ship, and she also has a very, very impressive service record. But anyway, without further ado, let us quickly talk about what she is, how she's going to play, that sort of thing. So the Warspite is of the Queen Elizabeth class super dreadnoughts, as you can see in the dev blog. So her sister ships included the HMS Barnum and similar vessels in that category. And basically her objective was to serve alongside the Rodney and, you know, act as a slightly faster battleship escort, if we can call it that. So not to say that she was as fast as the battle cruisers Hood and such, but, you know, she was pretty quick for a battleship. As those who have seen and played the Barnum, they know that that's a pretty fast vessel for her size and for her capability. She will have 381 millimeters. Sorry, that extra 1 mil is very important. AP rounds, and her guns basically are 15 inches. So if I'm not mistaken, it's one of the first 15-inch guns in the British territory. If not, then it's the first 15-inch guns with this particular APHE or AP round. So she's going to pack a massive punch, and she'll be able to do so at pretty much any range. As you can see in this clip, it's very good at dueling close range. And as a battleship, logic would dictate that she's also very good at long range, which she is. So we know that she's going to be good at close quarters combat. She's going to be good at long range. There's not many areas then that will be safe if you encounter this Warspite. And yeah, I mean, she's got a very big round, which contains a, quite frankly, astounding amount of explosive mass, which is 22 kilos of explosive mass.
That's a lot.
Which is pretty much, it's the same weight as like a teenager, sort of 13, 14, okay, maybe not 13, 14, but like a small child.
Yeah.
In terms of weight, it's as much as my dog. Let's give that. He weighs as much as my dog in terms of HE filler. So that's a crap load of filler into that round. So what's really nice is that not only is it a really high explosive round, it is also AP. So you have the opportunity, which is very nice with the Warspite, and this is something I've noticed lacks a bit with some of the other British battleships, is that generally when you fire in and you penetrate the enemy belt armor or deck armor, you don't really get the post-pen damage that is required to fully disable the ship. There are lucky shots that you can get, but generally it takes quite a bit of effort. Theoretically, what this means with the Warspite is that will no longer really be the case. The 15-inch guns with the 22 kilos of high explosive filler and also 650 millimeters of penetration against flat armor, she's going to be able to do a lot of damage at pretty much any range. So it doesn't really matter if you're far or near, you're going to get buggered up anyway. And it's going to be really nice because, and I do see that they added in a little bit like at the end, but this round was featured on other ships. And they do say that it will come to some of the other battleships like Renown, like Repulse, right, like Hood. So at least some of the cruisers, battle cruisers, are getting them. But I would like to see them come to some of the other battleships as well, at least a similar round. Because really, the battleships at top tier for Britain just really, really unfortunately lack that penetrating and post-pen damage. So it's nice to have, and the Rodney is no exception. She falls into this category as well. It's nice to have that little bit of extra firepower at the top of the British tech tree in terms of the naval aspect. And yeah, that's pretty much all about the Warspite. Oh yeah, one more thing. She's got really decent anti-air as well.
That's what I'm looking at now.
Don't think you can just you realize, bugger, I can't deal with the ship from range, or I'm gonna now try and bomb. You're not gonna get through the air defense either. It's gonna take you out. Not only is the AI very good in War Thunder Naval with the air defense, that's actually ungodly. But anyway, there's just so much anti-air on this battleship. It's actually quite astounding. It's 4 40mm pom-pom barrels, so it's 4 times 8 40mm emplacements. So that's
and they got
8 times 4 is what, 24 guns, 26 guns, something in that category. I'm so bad at math.
And I think their rate of fire is like 600 rounds a minute or something. I know they were ungodly fast.
Something in that ballpark. Yeah. So it's a crap load of fire that comes out of the very angry end of the gun. And then over and above that, there are 15 or 20mm autocannons over above the superstructure and around that. So there again is a lot of anti-air defense on this ship, and she's going to be quite capable. I'm really, 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 really excited about it, as you guys can probably hear. The only disadvantage is that her turret rotation is very slow, and this is something that was very common with the Queen Elizabeth class battleships, is that their turret rotation was very, very slow, so they had to engage the target with fair due warning. They couldn't just be sprung upon an enemy fleet and then expected to engage. They needed quite a bit of time to get into a position, not an extraordinary amount of time, but still enough time to bring the guns about, get them on target, that sort of thing, because the turret traverse is very slow. That's the only drawback with the Warspite and other Queen Elizabeth dreadnoughts. and that's how you would beat it. I think in my book is if you can just beat her gun lead. So if you're in a very fast vessel, maybe like a coastal vessel or a destroyer or a light cruiser even, and you've got torpedoes, get quick, get fast, and get around her guns, and that's probably the easiest way to deal with her. Is to kind of just get under her arm swing, get under her nose, and just hope that she's not being protected by somebody else, or somebody else isn't paying attention, because yeah, she's a very formidable. Oh dear, I think the stream has fallen down.
Still going.
Yeah,
I just have to refresh. There's YouTube's got the shitty problem where it like freezes your stream. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, maybe just reconnect because I see it's struggling a bit.
So I don't know why. You just refresh it and it comes right. So on my side, as you can see on the screen, everything's still fine.
It's still good.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've just got it open on my phone here so that I can see if there's anything.
Also.
Chat.
Just the Mrs. sent a message. Mrs. Cannonman, thank you. Or Mrs. Cannonman. Mrs. Cannon Girl. That's how it must be. Or Cannon Woman.
Fair enough.
So, okay. So, yeah.
But yeah. So, sorry, as I was saying, like the only way I would really deal with it is to get around her guns. Because otherwise you're going to have yourself a very hard time. But yeah, that's pretty much it about the Warspite. There's nothing really more. I'm pretty sure Admiral Cunningham would be very, very pleased to see his grand old lady in the game, and with as much love and attention to it as what it would have received in 1944.
No, I don't know. The stream, there? Yeah, this looks like the stream is fucking around.
Oh dear.
Let me just see what's going on. But it says I've got connection, is everything, and everything's fine. I don't know what. I don't know what the hell's the problem. Yeah. Let me just refresh my phone.
No worries.
I'm also watching it on my phone. That says we're live. Yeah, it shows my analytics. Yeah. So I don't know, it just looks like
maybe the YouTube is having a hard day. It's been drinking too much. But anyway, so I think that's pretty much it about the Warspite. Do you want to go on to what is it? Oh dear. The fun gun. Let's just call it that.
I'm loving this thing. I can't wait for this. I'm not going to say I can't wait for the update. I can't wait for it. But I would love to get my...
I'm excited for this one as well.
To play this, to research it and play it. I love this type of thing when you take a shit box and you make it better. That's literally what it is. It is a shit box.
It is, yeah.
Because... Thanks, Mrs. Cannon Man. Mrs. Cannon Girl. Thank you. I don't know if I should say Cannon Girl, Cannon Woman. I don't know.
Don't worry, when I figure it out, I'll let you know as
well. But anyway, okay.
Because I don't know either.
So basically what this is, we've got this vehicle, the AMD-35 armored car in the Premier Tree, I think it is.
And I think we've got two variants of that vehicle.
What was it?
One of them was an event vehicle or something.
Yeah. So the Germans captured over 600 of these. Ladies and gentlemen, 600. The French had more tanks than the Germans could make. Actual truth.
That's crazy.
Yeah, over 600 of these.
That's mad.
It's really bad how big the French armored division was actually before the outbreak of the war. Their armored division was even bigger than Britain.
Yeah, they had a massive army and armored division, yeah.
Okay, so the Germans got their hands on this and looked at that, like all French tanks, they looked at this and like, what the fuck must we do with this?
Now, bugger it, we can make it better.
Yeah, so they sent a couple back to Germany for the German engineers to pull apart and to look at, to see if there's any useful technology in it, like you always do in war. And then, sorry.
Yeah, if you don't have to pay for it and you can use it, you're already winning the battle there.
And then they decided, no, they can put a Pak 40 on this and make it like a mobile anti-tank gun, which is actually freaking very cool. I would have never actually given this thing reconnaissance in the game because it's not what it was actually built for. This was meant to be a mobile like anti-tank gun for early war, so for the early stages of World War II. And I think the gun is going to be very good if they implement it correct. And the balancing point will be your very weak armor on this thing. But you'll have good speed. Okay, wheeled vehicles aren't really, they say good mobility, but to do a turn in a tight space is not very good.
Good mobility in a straight and backwards line. Yes. Anything else is a bit dodgy.
Dodgy, yeah. So the balancing thing will be the weak armor on this thing. If you get strafed by an aircraft...
50 cals can go through that easy.
Yeah, 50 cals, 20 cals. Will go straight through it and will just obliterate you. So this thing, if you play like realistic, I said in my video, you take this wide on the flank, you sit and you camp the enemy spawn and everyone gets irritated with you. If you play this in arcade,
bushes on top.
Yeah, you put bushes on top, and I can think of a couple of maps where this thing's going to be a pain in the ass. If you play this
definitely.
Arcade, this I suggest you use it just as a capture point.
Running gun.
Yeah, running gun, capture a point, run out, and that's how you're going to play this thing. You could play it as sneaky peeky, but I don't think it's going to be very useful in sneaky peeky because you've got the markers in arcade that come up above your head, so they'll see you anyway when they get closer. So this is a run and spray, first spawn in, get the capture point, spawn in something better, and then when you get enough for the aircraft, you bring in your aircraft. That's how I see this type of vehicle.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be played much the same. I play quite a bit of France, and I've played both of the AMD variants that are currently in the French tech tree. Their main problem that I have, actually, this is quite weird because they do lack the horsepower that you'd expect from something like this. But that being said, this was also very, very early in the war.
Yeah.
These vehicles were developed in 1939, 38 and pressed into service by 40. And they, again, like you said, they were wildly fielded by France. They had a massive armored core. The main thing that let the French down on the day was the lack of radios and the very, very top-heavy command structure. But anyway, this vehicle played a massive role from what I know of it, the AMD itself, played a massive role in the battle for France. And the Germans quite liked it because it was quite mobile and reliable, actually, as well, for not only a wheeled vehicle, but for a French design. It was it fit their doctrine very well. Let's just sum it up like that. It very much fit their doctrine of, go quick, go hard, go fast, and get out. To really, really water that down. And yeah, I mean, like you said, it's going to have a Pak on the top of it. I don't know if it's a Pak 40.
It's the 50 millimeter.
It's the 50 millimeter gun, but it is still a Pak anti-tank gun. So if you're familiar with any of the World War II shows like Saving Private Ryan, Band of Brothers, any of those categories, you'll know that the Pak is quite formidable. And if you're like us and you're into World War II, you'll also know that the Pak is a very formidable anti-tank weapon system. So, and it doesn't really matter what caliber it is. Like, obviously, the bigger the caliber, the faster it went, or the more punch it had, not necessarily the faster it went, but the more punch it had. But all of the Pak guns were very good. And this is it's a 50 millimeter, sorry, not 19 millimeter, 50 millimeter, and served 1937 to 1940 and a little bit after. So it's a pretty decent gun, pretty good system overall. I agree with you. I think this is going to be very much a ratty cat.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to be very easily and very quickly prioritized as a as a get rid of soon target kind of thing.
Yeah, that's how I would prioritize it. Also, I would prioritize this. Well, okay, let me get back to what I was thinking and I actually forgot about now. I remembered it. My little braid. The hamster's tired.
His YouTube is buffering now.
Yeah. The pack had very good range as well. So, and in the game, there are some tanks that use the pack 40 or the KWK.
There's a Puma, I think, that does.
But it had very good range and very good ballistics. So this could also be a sniper. Don't throw this thing away.
No, we don't need another sniping boy.
This could be a sniper. This could be the
don't tell them that.
This could be the PKP for the P. What's it? PV. No. PV. What's that tank I like so much, man? The PV.
The PVKV2.
Yes, for the French.
It's a fast PVKV2. No, yes. That's even worse.
I got the feeling this is what this is going to be. This is going to terrorize rank 2. Watch how this thing goes up in BR.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. I think, though that being said, the other thing that we also need to keep in mind is that there are those that are the stewards of heavy tanks, and they play the Sherman 105s. But I think the 105 has been upped from 2.3 to 3.3 now.
Yes, it's at 3.3 now. Yeah, it's at 3.3, and it's still
so
fucking hell.
Maybe like your sick, because I mean, also like bear in mind this thing is like no armor and it's not enclosed, so HE really is also I think going to be a very good way of getting rid of, aside from like 50 kills and 20mm guns and stuff, of which there are plenty at the lower echelons of War Thunder. I think HE is also going to be a great way of dealing with the with this vehicle, and I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to get very, very irritated with this very, very quickly. But that being said, it is still a very cool vehicle. I'm glad it's coming to the game. It's kind of heralds back to Gaijin's original sort of roots of World War II simulator, vehicular combat, and I'm glad they're adding some more older vehicles in. I'm also really glad that this vehicle is coming both to France and to Germany. Yeah. And that seems to be quite the theme for this update, actually, is France and Germany, if I dare.
Yeah, a lot of.
But anyway, I think that is.
Paste. Yeah, a lot of copy pasting in this next update. But this is the one I'm looking so forward to. This will, when War Thunder drops this update, this will be the first thing I'm going to go grind out and research, and I might even do a video on it. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be really, really awesome.
And next we've got the Harry Hopkins Mark 1. I think I'm saying that right.
Just a quick one back to the Fifan, the German, the squeeze boy that we just spoke about now. Mm-hmm. A great pack if you guys are interested, and if you guys do have a little bit of cash lying around. My dog is being very special right now. If you do have a little bit of cash lying around, I would strongly suggest the French starter pack. It is suggested on the dev blog itself. The French starter pack comes with the B1 Tur tank and the P40 Lafayette fighter, and then premium account for 7 days, and I think it's like 100 or 120 silver lines or something like that. And I cannot tell you how much fun that particular pairing is, and it just makes your early grind of the French tech tree a lot more bearable. The French reserves are a little bit painful, if I'm brutally honest. I have done a video if you guys are curious, but the French reserve is brutally painful. I would strongly suggest it's like $7 or $9 for the French starter pack. Do yourself a favor, save yourself the pain. Just play really fun tank. It's a derpy tank. It's got 2 guns. It's got a lot of Frenchmen in it, and the P40 has a really, really cool skin, and its bomb load is pretty decent as well. And I would strongly recommend the both of those. You can't go wrong with them. But anyway, the Harry Hopkins Mark 1.
Just hang on.
The weird fella.
Just hang on. The tier 1 BIS. Sorry, gentlemen. The tier 1 the B1 tier, sorry, not the BIS, the tier 1 tier, is a very, it used to be even better back in the days, but I don't know.
Yeah, when it was 2.3.
Yeah, okay, but it is still a very good. That 75 in front is that in the sponsored mount is very good. The 37 in the turret is also very good against light armored vehicles. It's one of my favorite tanks in the game, without a doubt. This pack is really worthwhile picking up. I'm not an air person, so I don't play much, but I'll take Cannonman's word that the Lafayette is very good. But this tank is very good. If you get new players on the opposite team and they come up against you, they don't know what the fuck how to kill you. I've been rushed by 7 tanks trying to kill me in this thing. So it is very good.
Very survivable.
Yeah, it's a very good go. If you wait a little bit.
And sometimes even bombs are not enough.
No, not yeah. If you wait a little bit, you could pick it up for like $5 when they got a special on. So yeah, it's your choice, but yeah, I would
strongly would recommend the French starter tanks. It's great. Starter pack, sorry.
Any starter pack for any nation is a must, in my opinion. It is.
I would disagree.
No, I have had fun.
Japanese one sucks.
Which one?
That's just because the Japanese one sucks. But that's just because the Japanese tanks at that BR are so outclassed.
Yeah, but
they are so outgunned. It's not. But anyway, back to what we're actually here for. Sorry.
Yeah, let's get back to it. Okay, we are for this weird freaking
Harry Hopkins.
Awesome! I'm also excited for this.
Weird little bloke.
I'm also looking forward to
this. I will say I am too. Actually, since you told me about it, I'm actually quite amped for this because we've got the Tetrarch in the game, and I think I said it to you. This looks like a upscaled, better armor Tetrarch.
Yes.
And you said to me that it's pretty much a Tetrarch, but it's just better in every way. And I was like, okay, cool. That's like really awesome. And I mean, you can ask Polar Guts this, or some guy that's on our Discord servers. You can ask him. One of the tanks I played a lot was the Tetrarch because I just loved the fact that it was such a ratty little bastard. It would run around. I could run around in that thing and just shoot and scoot, and it was great.
Yeah.
And then I would die very quickly. And I'd be like, "Oh,
but you
got another," and then go again.
But you already got your 2 to 3 kills already in it. So.
Yeah, and you get 2, 3, 4 kills, and you're like, "Okay, cool. You've killed me, but I've taken half your team down with me by the ankles."
Yeah.
And the Harry Hopkins tank, I think, is going to be played much the same way, and it's going to be better as well because it's got more armor. If I remember what you said correctly, it's got a bit more armor.
I was looking,
and it's got the same mobility as the Tetrarch, which is quite cool.
I was looking at the dev stream, frontally angled. I didn't check the angles now. But it's like 38 millimeters. But if I look at the angling, it looks at about 40 degrees, 60, maybe 40 degrees angle.
Yeah, so I say it's probably at least 45 mils of effective armor, if not more.
So this is just going to be one of those tanks that I see also bring out as a first spawn, while everyone else brings out their big heavies.
Cause absolute havoc.
Yeah, and many different play styles in this, but it is just one of those tanks, and why I say American, I'll get into it now, is that no one knows nothing about. It's one of those projects that the British gave to the Americans and said, listen, we're building 20 other different fucking tanks. We want this. And the Americans designed it, and the British got it, and they were like, no, thank you, no, thank you. There were, I think, a couple made, not a lot, but there were a couple. It's just, when you put an American in a room, put a British funded pounds in the room, and you give them something fun, and this is what the fuck they come up with.
Hey, look, I'm all about this. If I could get one, I black would. Imagine me driving around in one of these things. It would be so much fun. Oh.
Yeah, it's I'm just really, like you said, it's going to play the same as the Tetrarch, or the Tetracite tank, or the Tetra, what I call it the Tetra. Because if you look at it, it's going to play the same. It's going to be fast. It's going to be nimble. I still think you're going to get killed by also rank 2, I think. You're still going to get killed by the German short 75s and that one shot. Else. Yeah, but I think you'll be a bit more protected from 50 cals and that. but 20s bombs will still wipe you off the face of the earth. But it's going to be my opinion, if I go play like we used to play in the old days, in the old school days, first spawn, rush the camp, secure get those points,
brawl it out.
Yeah, and then rush out to the enemy and find them and shoot as many as you can and die and spawn in your heavy. I mean, that's how the old days used to be.
Yeah. And I mean, like, this tank would have been so much fun. I don't know if you remember the old map.
What it could
White Rock Fortress or something.
No, maybe
like that's the map. It was that little map that was like, if any of the OG War Thunder players are on here and they remember that map, let me know. But there was a map called White Rock Fortress, and that was like one of the first maps I ever played on. And that map was so bloody good for the Tetrarch because it suited it so well. And this vehicle would have been so good on that map because it's literally just it's exits, it's alleyways, it's hills, it's ditches, it's rocks, it's ups and downs, it's lefts and rights, And I think that's how this vehicle will stay alive, so long as you keep it moving. Because bear in mind that much like the Tetrarch, this will more likely than not have a stabilizer, not a full speed stabilizer. Keep that in mind. It's not a full speed stabilizer, but like we call it a shoulder stabilizer or a low speed stabilizer if you want to be really technical.
Yeah, at like 15, 20 kilometers an hour, it will work.
Yeah, which means that if you are braking to engage an enemy, your gun's going to be ready a lot faster than them. So, yeah, I think this thing's got a lot going for it. As you say, it's a very much a get in, shoot, and get out and kill, cause as much damage as possible in as short a period of time. This is I'm ready.
This is not a long-term for a match tank, it's not something you're going to take in like an IS-7 and you're going to try to play out the whole match with it, or a Sherman or something. This is something you get in, cause havoc, disarray the team while they're trying to push the capture point, and then you die, and then you come back in with something a bit more suited for long-term gameplay. This is my opinion on these type of things, and that's how I've never changed my play style. I always try to do that. When I play the Swedish, when I play them all, I've got my tanks that I try to use for long-term gameplay, and then I've got my tanks that I use just to cause disruption. If I see the game's going bad, I've got a tank for that. I know, okay, this is a ratty tank. I can hide there in camp. So, yeah, this is just my opinion on it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. But also just a quick word there as well. Again, the starter packs. Sorry, I swear I heard a cow moo. Sorry, I live on a farm, guys, so occasionally the wildlife are quite loud. But no, it was a motorbike. The British starter pack, I've done a video on again, so if you guys want to see more about that, go and check my British starter lineup video. But the British starter pack is also really good. It's the Crusader 2 the Saint and the Spitfire Mark II Ventura. Both have really cool stories. Both have really cool liveries. And the Spitfire Mark II, I would say that the 2A is not the best starter plane, but for that rank, it's pretty decent anyway. Because it just comes with the machine guns. It doesn't come with the cannons or the later Spitfires. And the Saint, the Crusader 2 is it's a Crusader 2. It's a great tank. You can't go wrong with it. And if you want to research the Hopkins really quickly, that's how you do it. Anywho, shall we move on to
this pack?
Unless you've got more to say. Yeah?
I've just got a big problem with this pack. Okay, I own all the starter packs. All of them. I never missed one. I've got them all. Okay. Except for the Israeli one.
He's got all these Pokemon.
Leave the Israeli one. I don't have the Israeli one. Okay. The Spitfire is very good. Okay. The Crusader is the same fucking Crusader that's in the tech tree, just with a nice paint job. Okay. That, for me, is not really worth the money. Okay. But what makes up for that is the premium time, the Silver Lions, and the bonuses you get with that Crusader. So you could take out basically the same two tanks at this BR, just get nice premiums with nice benefits with the one. So yeah.
But that being said, as much as and I think it's great that it's the same as a tech tree one, because it doesn't mean you lose anything by not having it.
No, you don't lose anything.
Other than the premium sort of rewards. But that being said, the Crusader is an incredibly survivable and for giving starter tank.
Yeah.
So I think it's a great vehicle. I would much prefer that they made it a Crusader or even a Sherman, actually, as opposed to some of the other more weird and wonderful British premiums that litter that golden right hand side.
I did a video on this when it was that time when they would say Britain was suffering and blah blah, and I took this tank out, this Crusader with the Saint camo on. I think it was this one, if I remember correctly. And I got like, okay, remember I'm an arcade player, so I got I think it was a 6 or 7 kill game in this tank, and I was like, how the fuck is Britain suffering? Maybe people should play the tanks like they were intended. Don't see a Crusader the same as you see a T-34 or a Sherman. It is not the same. It is different playstyles. They are. Britain doesn't suffer as much. I do have a pain with Britain with the gun being so, but not as good as it should be.
Bad gun, only having solid shot, no 50 cals, tragic AAs.
So
only having Spitfires for most of the tech tree.
There are problems with the British tech tree, but if the British tech
there
trees,
are problems with it, but yeah.
But if it's played like it's intended, like they,
100%.
If you use the tank strength, you can have a whopper game in them. Really, you can.
No, 100%. And I say it in my videos, the ones that are still up. I say it as well. You play each of these nations has a specific play style, and if you play to that play style, you play to that doctrine, makes your life easier, you enjoy your game a bit more. Because remember, not all vehicles are created equally, not all vehicles are made for the same purpose or the same tasks. So just keep that in mind when you play any of the vehicles, be they air vehicles, be they naval, be they ground, be they US, be they Sweden,
all different,
old or new vehicles in the update lineups, whatever. Like, just keep that in mind, guys. Like, this new update's bringing a lot of vehicles who have very unique play styles. And I know we said, like, with the Hopkins and the French-German amalgamation, that, you know, yes, they will play similar to X or Y tank, but as much as what they will play similar doesn't mean they play exactly the same. The Hopkins will probably have its own quirks, the French-German amalgamation, much the same. So just keep that in mind as we go through. But I think we should move on now to the Clovis. I see you got it on screen there.
Yeah, the Frankenstein. That's all I can really call it. Is a freaking Frankenstein. This thing. I know that.
I like it.
I know the.
It looks so derpy.
Argentinians experimented with the Marder chassis. That's how you got the TAM tank that came in existence, was through that project.
Yeah.
They experimented heavy with the Marder chassis. And I never knew the French experimented with it. But makes absolutely sense that they did this.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, the Marder chassis is a very good chassis. Shame. Polar Glutz has his gripe every time we play. He's like, they never model the Marder chassis correctly. It's an APC chassis, and this thing is like, it's the most durable chassis, whatever, ever created. Like the TAM 2, and it's specifically with the TAM 2. He's like, this thing survives stuff that it really shouldn't. And he does have a point. The TAM and the Marder chassis, period.
They're almost exactly
the same. Be it on the Marder A1, yeah, be it on the Marder A1 or the TAM or what's now going to come as the Clovis or the DF105, actually, which has been in the game for quite a while already. All of them have the same thing. Their hull is super, super survivable. And I don't know, I kind of almost get the feeling, and I don't know, maybe you can, agree or disagree. But I kind of get the feeling that this is either a very small crew turret, or it might even be unmanned and it's just an autoloader in the back there, and it's like a remote remote turret. I don't see anything that indicates that it is a 4 crew. Let me see here. I think it's I think it might be a remote.
I'm thinking about because when I did the video on this, I think it's got a 12 ready rack in the autoloader, already, 12 rounds,
Oh, that's a lot.
if I remember
That's not
correctly.
bad.
And this is quite a small turret, actually. So I don't know where you would have to fit a very small Frenchman in there.
I'm sure you can find them.
But if you look at the video, it does actually have manholes, or I don't know, escape ports on the roof.
Yeah, it's got hatches. It's got hatches on the top there, but I don't know if that means that there are crew. Look, it might be like the TAM 2. It's just got a very small and very cramped turret. I don't know. Maybe that's. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see because I kind of feel like maybe somebody can correct me in the comments or whatever later on. But I kind of like the idea of this thing having an unmanned turret. It looks very futuristic, so that's kind of it would be kind of cool, I think, to have an unmanned turret. But yeah, the Clovis is very similar to the DF-105, which is in the German Czech bit. Fuck. German Czech tree. There we go. Listen, I've been up since 5 o'clock here. It's been a very long day. But yeah, the DF-105, which also, fun fact, will come to the French tech tree as well in this update, because it was worked on with the French. The DF-105 and the Clovis will share a lot of similarities. So they'll have the autoloader, the good mobility, the heat round. The big difference comes here with the coaxial 20mm. It's just got really dodgy armor protection, apparently. I don't think that is the case. Like I said, the Marder chassis survives stuff that it shouldn't.
Yeah.
But hey, we live and let go, I suppose.
What's that other German tank with the 20mm next to the big gun is the Turbs. The Turbs 2.
That's a 30mm next to the big 105, the term 3.
What pre-BR is that, the Turb?
That is actually at the same BR that this thing.
You see where I'm going with this.
H3, A7. Yeah, actually, that's a pretty strong lineup if I think about it, because which has a frankly nonsense chassis, or hull rather, with a DF-105 gun essentially, and 20mm autocannon backing it up, right? You can deal with AA, you can deal with light armored cars with relative ease, of which at 8.0 there's quite a few, especially in the Chinese tech tree. You can take it up to 9.7, 9.3. It can easily deal with the Radkampfwagen or the Roykat.
Easily.
And then you've got the term 3 backing that up.
Oh, that's an irritating fucking
That's
tank.
a very, very problematic lineup. I don't like that. I wish I didn't notice that either. Now I'm unhappy about my life.
Every mother German player, this is going to be in their lineup. Watch it.
100%.
Watch it. Because this is going to be what, a $50 pack.
Yeah, so this is put at $50, and then the French are going to get the same one as a Golden Eagle Premium. So it's not going to be a pack for the French, but it will be a Golden Eagle Premium. And I suspect that's probably going to cost around 7,000, 8,000 Golden Eagles,
I was also
more or less.
Thinking about that.
Probably 6,000 even, give or take, because I remember that the VBCI that I got was about 6K Golden Eagles, give or take. It's like about 6,700 more or less in that ballpark. And the AMX30 was also about the same. It was about 7,000 Golden Eagles. So I suspect that this will also cost in that ballpark 6, 7, 8,000 Golden Eagles. So kind of keep that in mind if you are looking to acquire this for the French tech tree, that it will be a Golden Eagle Premium for the French. And for the Germans, it will be a store pack. So you can get it. It's actually on pre-order now at the moment. There's a cool little, I think it's a stupid fucking pre-order, frankly. You get a title that's something along the lines of Marder something or another.
Dial M for Marder.
You get, Dial M for Marder.
Yeah,
which
title.
I think is just
stupid.
really, really fucking dumb, frankly. But you know, it's a cool title, I guess, if you're into collecting that.
Yeah.
15 days of premium account, 2,000 Golden Eagles. It's your standard $50 pack. It's actually not too bad, all things considered.
No, it's not.
I think they could have done a little bit more on the work on the title, but you know, it's okay. They were under pressure, so yeah, they did what they could. We'll cut them some slack. It's not the best title, but it's definitely not the worst.
You know, War Thunder, we're not going to talk bad about War Thunder in this stream, or at least we're not going to try. But
Emphasis on the word try.
when I was reading this going through this before I make the video, because I tried to read through it, even though you won't say that, because I don't try to do everything that they say. I only try to take points that I think are interesting. When I was reading this, and I was like, the DF-105, and I was like thinking there, most cheaters play with the Germans and the Americans and the Russians, and I've died a lot to the people using the DF, the DF that's already in the game, the 105. And I know a lot of cheaters do use that tank, and I was like, oh, I wonder if this isn't the next cheater main.
Yeah, look, I mean, War Thunder's done a lot in fixing. I mean, I think you saw it the other day where they did that, what was it, that purge, or that, was it, community fair play or something, or whatever they called it.
Yeah.
But they purged something like 300,000 cheaters and hackers and stuff. So they look after it, and I do think that there will be people that exploit this vehicle, 100%.
Yeah.
It is a very, very, like I said, it is a very proven gun already.
Yeah, it is.
It's the same gun that's on the DF-105.
That's what I was getting to.
And it's on a Marder chassis. So this vehicle is going to be very, very difficult to deal with. People are going to exploit it 100%. I don't see that not happening.
I mean, I wasn't talking bad now. I was just like raising this. What if this won't be the next made for them? And I got an idea. Keyboards and Scream sales will be going up because you get a die to the Turbs 3, and then he's going to die.
And then the Clovis is going to appear.
And then the Clovis is going to kill you by the same person, and then you get to either break your keyboard or your Scream. So sales might go up on those things. But a very cool
It's
tag.
a win-win for everybody except us.
Yeah. But it's a very cool tag. I do like it. I'm not going to say. I like these mad amalgamation. That's why I wish they would add.
It's quite nice. It's refreshing.
Yeah, I wish they would add the Egyptians and the Syrians and those amalgamations of the T-34s and the Shermans and I wish they would add the freaking Israeli Sherman with the AMX-13 turret. I wish they would add that. Then I'll see Israel. Maybe I'll play Israel.
That just sounds like sacrilege. I'm sorry. Which crackhead was like, yes, let's take an AMX-13 and put it on top of a Sherman?
Hey.
Which crackhead?
Hey.
That man needs to be persecuted.
The Egyptians
that
also
is a horror.
The Egyptians
that is psychological warfare.
It is so cool. It is so weird. You got this big ass body. It's like a modern, a modern American woman. Big ass body with a small head.
Fair enough. But you know what that is? That's a Geneva Convention violation. That's a war crime. But anyway,
it's so cool.
Let us quickly talk.
Yeah, let's move on to the next one.
Let's talk about the event that's coming up, because I see we are going on quite a long time already. So let's
speed this up.
Crack on through this event quick, and then we'll talk a bit of shit about the F-18 and stuff coming after that. So the French Strasbourg battleship is coming in the Raider Hunter event. So Strasbourg is actually a city, for those who don't know, in France.
I thought it was
German.
And
it borders Germany, which is why it's got the Strasbourg name. There's a lot of language mixing along the borders. And yeah, so Strasbourg is actually a French vessel, and it's a French town. So fun fact there. Geography is a win. And pretty much it's going to be very similar to the... I kind of want to say the Dunkirk in a lot of ways. Like, the layout is pretty similar to the Dunkirk in some ways. It's not as quirky as the Dunkirk. So it's got a very standard, quote-unquote, layout. But it's only got the two guns sort of in front. Okay, it's got three guns technically. But, you know, it's got the two main turrets in the front. And then there's a secondary turret in the back. But it's not built to the specification that later war battleships were built to, because this was built to comply with the Washington Naval Treaty prior to the war starting. And the French just needed guns and ships that would comply to that.
And
they were trying to rebuild their navy as well. So it has very good armor. It's got the main batteries, like I said, in the front. It's got relatively good speed. I wouldn't say it's got very good speed, but it's got relatively decent speed. Has a recon aircraft. It's got radar, and it's just mediocre on air defense. Very problematic amongst the French battleships. Sort of from 6.0, 5.7 up. The French ships, period, have very, very little anti-aircraft defense. So that's something, if you play France, you know that's going to be a problem. But yeah, it's still a very nice ship. Very similar, like I said, to the Dunkirk. And it was pretty much alive and well up until 1955, where it was sold for scrap and operated as the flagship for the Mediterranean French fleet, sorry, and also served as the flagship for the Vichy Navy, which is quite interesting, the Vichy French Navy. This event will require you to participate in naval battles, obviously, up to 45,000 points, which I think is a ridiculous amount for naval. But anyway, it's got 330 millimeter caliber guns, and they can fire high explosive, semi-armor piercing, pretty stock standard for the French, with, again, like the notable disadvantage being the lack of anti-air. It does have some smaller guns around it.
Yeah, but it's not
I say
really...
that very likely.
Yeah,
They're
very
like
likely.
5-inch guns.
Yeah, very fucking likely you say that.
Yeah, there's very, very light guns around it. Like, I wouldn't get into a close-in duel with anything in the ship. I would much rather advise that you duke it out from afar, because that's where this thing would shine. Its armor layout also suits it. It's got the I think it's the turtle armor layout is what they call it. But yeah, the armor layout suits it. It's got a long range engagement capability, and it's very much battle cruiser ish. So you kind of want to, if you stay head on, you'll be fine. Most of your firepower is in the anyway, and as a result, you also present yourself as a smaller target. And that's pretty much the long and the short of the ship and the event. It's a bit ridiculous. 8 marks of distinction again, as per the usual with events for this vessel, and 10 if you'd like to sell it on the marketplace.
That's
alrighty.
I think it's pretty cool. I just don't think it's an event vehicle.
I also actually think so. I think this should have come, at least this particular ship, I think, should have come as a tech tree, and then another ship of that particular class should have come later.
Because this is giving you nothing really over what's already in the tech tree. So depending on what the shells are going to be and how quick the reload are on those 8 guns in front, which are huge, 380 millimeters, I think I saw.
I mean, that being said, this is part of the Dunkirk class, and as I understand it, there were 3 ships built. So yeah, I mean, we've already got the namesake of the class in the game as a tech tree. I believe the Dunkirk is a tech tree variant. So I suppose they kind of were like, well, we're 2 of the same class, so we might as well make the second event vehicle, you know. But yeah, that's got 200 something mils of pen. I think 600 mils of pen. Sorry, not 200 mils of pen. That's the armor belt. Yeah.
Okay.
Very, very nice boat. So, anywho, so that's the event. That's the boats. If you guys dig it, there's the information. Let us talk about the F-18. I have issues with this. And not issues that I think would first come to mind.
Besides that, it's coming to every nation in the tech tree.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I think it's actually only coming to, if I'm not mistaken, it's only the US at the moment. But yeah, my gripe actually stems from exactly that. But no, there was another nation that had it.
According to this
article, I
article,
remember who it was now.
The F-18A, F-18C Sweden, F-18C late
pre-order.
Sweden,
there we go.
F-18C early Hornet, a jet fighter for the US and Sweden. Okay, so it's coming first to those nations. So
yeah, and I have a gripe about that, but we'll talk about that in a moment. So like Easy said, it's coming to Sweden and the US. We've got the F-18 or FA variant as well as the F variant. So for those who don't know, the way the US name their aircraft is pretty self-explanatory. F is fighter, A is attacker, B is bomber, T is trainer, C is cargo, that sort of thing. So that's the first letter generally designates the role of the aircraft in the aviation corps or the Air Force, as it's more commonly known, I suppose. And so the FA is fighter, attacker, 18 Hornet, and the Swedish only get the air supremacy variant of it, which is the F-18, and that's kind of the more commonly way it's phrased. Many people don't go FA, at least that I hear. They don't go FA-18, they go F-18. Because I guess we all know that it is capable of bombing people. That kind of is all American fighters, that they can bomb people. They're kind of multi-role in their nature. But anyway, so outstanding maneuverability, large selection of weapons, new AA missiles, and weaponry for any mission. As we saw in the dev stream, this thing can carry a metric fuck ton of bombs, missiles, and everything else under the sun. Shocker. It's a Hornet. We knew this. I'm not going to go overly into it. It's the Hornet. You guys...
We all know it.
You guys, a large part of the group of the community has been asking for it.
Yeah.
They've now got it. I have issues with it coming to the game. But yeah, Easy, any comment before I go into this?
Basically, it doesn't interest me. Any top tier jet, top tier tank does not interest me. Because they've reached the point now. They can take their other game, Starfighter or whatever it's called now, and they can merge it with War Thunder, because that's where they're going to go. They've reached top tier. They've rushed it. They have. It just does not interest me. I'm not interested in top tier jets. I love the MiG-29. Don't get me wrong. I do like these things. They are freaking nice to look at and all of that. But F-15, F-16, F-18, they're all just there. They're there for me. It means jack to me. I've got no interest in them. I think it's too early for War Thunder to implement these type of things. I think they should have focused on balancing the tech trees out. There's a lot more they could have added in.
Decompressing and stuff.
Yeah, it just does not... From the MiG-29 and all of those things, they do not... I would go as far as to say I'm interested up until the Sabre, that type of era, but not the Sabre with the missiles, the Sabre with cannons, the first Sabres. From there, I will not ever be interested in this type of... It's not... already in tanks, you already got the problem of standing at your spawn and shooting to the other guy's spawn. With these with this type of thing, that's what's basically going to happen. You're going to spawn in, lock onto a target, fire a missile, and you got that in naval already. You start shooting already from your spawn onto the enemy ships. And this is going to be the same with top tier for jets. You're going to spawn in, lock onto a target, fire a missile, turn, swing around, lock on, fire. There's no challenge in it. There's no play style in it. People say, oh, but you got to press your keyboard to get flares, and you got to dive and
this and this and this.
Missiles have got a bigger... Today's modern missiles, they've got more G-force than the bloody pilot can actually handle.
That's not wrong, actually. That is entirely true.
So...
But yeah, no, I agree.
I'll leave this to Cannon Man because this does not interest... That's why I never even did a video on it. I said to you last night when we were discussing this, I said I'm not even going to do a video on it because we're going to chat about it today, and I'm just not interested in top tier. I mean, I'll be interested in top tier naval.
That's 100% fair.
If we get naval ships like missile carriers, missile cruisers, and those type of things, that I'll definitely be, because that's really freaking fascinating, because there's actually technology that goes into that. There's calculations, maths, but Gaijin will never implement it in like it should be. But that would be freaking... This does not...
It's a bit of a point-click adventure in a lot of ways, I think. Is the sum of the whole is what you're trying to say there.
Yeah, I could go play Tarkov where I just point at someone and press my mouse pad and I'll fill him up full of bullets. I can go play...
Yeah, and get the same effect.
I can get the same effect. That's basically it. There's nothing really to it for me. It's boring. I'll find it boring as shit. I like prop planes where we're in between each other, we are mingling, shooting at each other. You got a guy on your tail, your teammate's on you, he's got 10 guys on his tail, and 3 guys are still trying to come from spawn. That is interesting to me. This
no, I get you.
This just does not interest me. I think it's a waste that Gaijin rushed it so quick.
Yeah, and I think that actually is a nice little segue in for what I have an issue with this plane. That thing of it being a waste, you know? Like, my thing is that the F-18, FA-18, and the F-18 both do the same thing as what the F-15 does, right? And yes, people are going to have a absolute fucking hernia about that. They'll be like, oh no, it doesn't. Yes, it does. Have you seen the metric fuck ton of bombs this thing can carry? Sorry, I know I'm swearing a lot, but that's the only way to feckin' ordinances this thing can carry. This thing can carry on 10 pylons, 10 missiles.
Yep.
The F-15 can do the same. The F-15 has a slightly lesser thrust to weight ratio, I think, or it's the same. So you've got a very similarly performing plane. Yes, okay, the F-18, FA-18 is a little bit more maneuverable because it's a slightly more smaller fighter. It's very like F-5E in that sense. But for me, it's one and the same as the F-15, and it doesn't provide anything useful to the game. That's my first issue with it. The second thing that I have an issue with is that the way that it's been introduced not only to only 2 nations, but it's also been introduced as a premium. And I think that something like this shouldn't have been a premium, purely because it's such an iconic aircraft. Like, if you were going to introduce it as a tech tree variant. And I suppose the same argument could be made for it being a premium, is that people want it even if they don't play that tech tree, which, you know, is fine and fair enough. But I think don't introduce it at fucking $80. You know, it's a digital image that moves in a 3D digital rendered space that actually doesn't really require that much effort. You make it once and you copy it however many times you need to. It's yeah, for me, it's not fucking $80 of iconic whatever.
No,
you know,
I agree
that's
with you.
my second gripe. And my third gripe basically leads into from the first, is that they only introduced it to 2 countries, right? That being Finland, that being the US tech tree. And the US tech tree, I fucking don't understand this. So the vehicles that they introduced for the US tech tree, the F-18A or FA-18C early, is the Canadian variant of the, if I'm not mistaken, which, you know, in my opinion, considering how many Canadian vehicles are already in the British tech tree, I feel that should have gone to the British. Just saying. Not only that, but then you've also got the fact that the Aussies still operate and have operated Hornets for like the longest time. They've operated the Hornets since it came out. And they now also operate the Super Hornets, and they continue to operate the Super Hornets until their F-35Bs and so F-35Bs are ready to replace the Hornets. And that's kind of been a slow process, but that's neither here nor there. The Australians operated the Hornet is the point of that statement. And for me, it's like, okay, cool. You're introducing AIM-9Ls, AIM-7Fs, and Ms. And I believe the AIM-7M is a new missile for this particular aircraft.
Yeah, I saw that
which is cool.
I saw that they said it's getting a new missile. So
yeah, and I hope it comes to the other aircraft or similar capability comes to like the Eurofighters and, you know, the Su-30, which is another vehicle that I see hasn't been devlogged just yet. But yeah, it's to me, I've got issues with it, the way it's been introduced, how it's been done. The Swedish one is coming in the Finnish tech tree, and it's the direct air superiority fighter variant of the FA-18. So it's almost squarely focused on securing the airspace. It doesn't really have the same bomb load that the FA-18 does, but it should still be capable to a limited degree. For me, the main issue is that they introduced tech trees, whereas they could have introduced it to 3, or if you really want to bend it, you could introduce it to 4. You could have given Germany one because Spain operated it.
Japanese operated, I think.
Yeah, so it's the Kuwaitis operated it. So there are plenty of ways to work around, and the fact that it only came to 2 as opposed to 4 tech trees, I think for me is a bit of a head scratch. Maybe they come in the second update of this year, but yeah, for me it just feels like artificial skewing of matches, because again the F-18 can just carry so much more stuff.
Yeah.
And again, it's so unnecessary, because now not only do we have fucking F-15s to contend with, but now we've got a FA-18 that thinks it's the F-15 doing the same thing, playing exactly the same way. I don't know what to tell you guys, but it gets boring after a while. That's my thing. It's an iconic aircraft. Don't get me wrong. I like the Hornet. It's one of my favorite aircrafts. I just don't like the way it's been implemented and executed in the game. That's the long and the short of that.
No, I agree with you. This whole top tier for the air for all nations is a bugger up. You've got so many gaps in other nations that need to be filled, and you are worried about this. I mean, I can think straight off my head, the Italian tech tree, there needs work.
Japanese tech tree.
Yeah, the Japanese tech tree, or the whole Japanese tech tree, ground, naval, air. I mean, I was sitting there thinking today, or was it just now? Yeah, I can't remember. World War II, who was the... yeah, I am. who was the superpower of the sea? Britain on the European side?
Britain, France, US, and Japan.
Okay, but US wasn't that big at the time, but it was big, but it wasn't as big as the British. The British had over 1,000 odd ships. I was watching in this week.
Like early World War, yeah.
Yeah, World War II, I was watching Mark Fletcher Productions, where he was complaining about there's like 70 admirals, and there's only like, I can't remember what he said, 80 ships in the Royal Navy now or something like that. I can't remember precise figures. And in World War II, there was over 1,000 ships, and there was something like 40 admirals. He says, how the fuck did you get to this conclusion?
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
So, the Japanese was a major naval power. I mean, without naval, the Japanese would have never been able to do what they would do. Love needs to be given on those.
And like I saw a comment on the... Sorry, it's just so interesting you say that, because I saw a comment on the dev stream that succinctly sums it up, where somebody was like, USA receives a 13.0 fighter 3 times over. Japan receives a BR 1.0 coastal vessel.
Yep.
And that's so true. I mean, like, again, I don't have an issue with the aircraft. I love the aircraft. I adore the F-18. I adore the Hornet. It is a gorgeous aircraft, and it's an aircraft of my childhood. I just don't like... I feel like they've done discredit and disgrace to the aircraft in the way that it's been handled.
Yeah, no, I agree.
They've kind of plopped it in front of us and gone, okay, give us your money. You know, that's kind of how I feel about it, at least the premium. The tech trees I've got no issue with. I don't think they should be in the game, because they've got the same capability as the F-15. That's just where I stand from like an objective, okay, like let's look at what's in the game kind of thing. The only thing that I think is quite cool, well, not the only thing, but one of the cooler things about this, though, is that it does have limited thrust vectoring capability, or it does have thrust vectoring capability, which is quite nice. So it allows you to do some really cool, freaky stuff in the sky. So if you want cinematic stuff, this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm actually quite keen to see the cinematic stuff that comes out with it, because it can do some really, really cool maneuvers and stuff. So it's going to be quite interesting. I think in dogfights, in those close quarter dogfights with the guns on it's going to be quite a handful to deal with. But anyway, I think let us quickly wrap this up because we've still got to talk about 3 locations.
Yeah, and this I'm quite happy actually. I don't know if it's for the best or for the worst, but it's 3 maps that I reckon actually 2 that needed really work. The Sinai, and what is the other map? The jungle wasn't too bad in my experiences. It wasn't that bad of a map. There was cheeky peaks, there was open pieces. Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I don't know what they've reworked here.
They've made it look a lot like Enlisted.
I also saw that. Yeah.
Like, especially this jungle map, it looks very much like something out of Enlisted.
Yeah.
It's very nice, it's very pretty, but it's very much Enlisted.
Yeah,
Advance to the, I think it's what, Advance to the Rhine or Berlin? Advance to the Rhine. Advance to the Rhine has basically been cleared up a lot. It's been made cleaner, it's been made a bit more crisp. The overall visuals of it are quite nice. I quite like it. It's very pretty at the moment. I think it also just adds a little bit more character. Everything's a bit more defined. I see that they've added a couple more era-specific decorations. So they've added like the German flag of the period there. They've added some trams, yellow trams.
I see
it's been made quite nicely.
Yeah, it's been cleaned up
and
a bit.
Sinai looks like it's been made a lot more flat.
Sinai looks like that one map that you play in Enlisted. That one desert map. I was looking at it now.
Tunisia, Algeria.
I can't remember what the freaking name is. But
I don't know either.
Looks a lot like that.
Yeah, I know which one you're mentioning, but it does look quite similar. But again, it's very flat. Look at
very
5 out of 10 there. Very, very, very flat.
This is going to be a campers. Yeah, this is going to be interesting.
But it looks like there's also more rocks kind of around, so there's a little more hard cover.
Come along,
the buildings I see on the right have been sort of updated a bit more.
Yeah, it looks.
And even the oil wells on the left in the background there have been made a bit more modern, which is quite nice. It's a lot cleaner.
Yeah, it looks cleaner. It looks more crisp. That's what I think they basically did. I don't think they really did a lot.
Over much.
Yeah.
No.
This comes over.
This jungle map looks pretty much the same, but it's straight out of Enlisted. Change one. I
think they've just
very pretty maps.
I think they just crisped them. This is a nice camping spot if you're over here and you use this bunker. Got a nice view down that way, and you got a nice view down that way. This is a very nice spot. Yeah. This it used to be. It's like over there, and you could like see all the way till here and all the way here. So you got this like massive field that you could fire that bunker. I think they just crisped the maps up. I think they just moved some of the clutter.
There's a second image or second set of images give a little bit more detail. If you scroll down a bit more.
Where?
Just scroll down. Like actually scroll down.
Yeah, I'm at the comments.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, no, up. The one there that was with the tree slightly down.
So we're not on the same page.
So that bush, that one there. And you can flick through those. For some reason, it doesn't show them all like on the page. But if you flick through them, you get a better idea. So I think they definitely, like you say, they crisp them up a little bit more. The one that's quite nice for me is that Advance to the Rhine, that second picture, is very, very nice. And Jungle definitely has received a lot more space. Like it feels a lot more spacious. It doesn't feel so claustrophobic anymore.
If I'm looking at this picture, I can see because this was a heavy, dense piece.
It was like very, very claustrophobic.
Yeah, so I think they have just cleaned it up a bit. It looks like they didn't do much on the maps. It's just all tidied up and made look pretty, and that even this looks even more cleaned up.
Yeah.
So yeah,
but I'm fine with that. Honestly, it means they're giving a little bit more attention to the other maps. That's something that they should spend more of their time on. Is making not aesthetic, for the love of God, not aesthetic maps, but functional maps. Just say instead of trying to milk people for 70, 90, $80 of a premium. But anyway,
Yeah, so
but I
yeah,
think that is.
that is everything.
There are some map changes to jungle, so the river has been made level throughout so that you can wade through it all the way through. The sniping spot that was in B1 has also been closed off again. Jungle has become so closed off. Like all of the old sniping spots have been closed off. And yeah, I think that's by and large it.
Not
They've
much.
added more telegraph lines and railways, and village buildings have been updated, and all of that stuff. So yeah, all very, very nice, and all very, very clean and very, very well done. Nicely done there, Gaijin, on that one.
Took them 3 months to do that. But yeah,
Yeah.
to delete a couple of objects.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they also like re-rendered the whole map, but
So, but it looks nice. I do agree that looks nice. I do like seeing. I've always said I would be happy with an update that just involves bug fixes and add in a couple of maps.
yeah.
I would be happy with an update that does that, or that improves all the maps. That would be a fantastic update. I would be happy with that.
I would be over the moon.
Yeah. Leave all the
Remember when they
shiny
did
toys.
remember when they used to have all of those map updates happen? Oh,
Leave all
dare I say those.
Leave all the shiny things out and just focus on those things, and I'll be happy. I won't complain about that. I mean, there's already a lot of shinies to go play with in the game. Yeah, so I mean, what War Thunder's got over 2,400 vehicles, I think, in the game already. Yeah. So yeah, I think we're going to end it.
Yeah, that's all I've got to say. Overall, I'm fairly pleased with the update. There's obviously gripes and issues, but I think Gaijin's done pretty decently well on this, particularly with the introduction of the lower tier vehicles, the Fun Boys. And yeah, that's it from me, pretty much.
From my side, I am happy to see the lower tier vehicles coming in. Okay. I'm just worried about how many premiums are we going to get in this update compared to how many tech tree vehicles we're going to get. That is my worry.
Yeah.
But I would love to see some more lower tier stuff, some more balancing rather than graphics, some more mechanic fixes. Those are the type updates I would like to actually see, and not what I pull off Reddit or something like that, or something that someone heard. I'd like to physically see those things on this website. But yeah, except for the Hornet, further still early days. We'll have to see what comes out of this week coming. But it's looking pretty fun so far. It's looking good. There's still some things that they had on the dev stream that have not been put out yet, so we didn't talk about it because it's not physically here. So yeah, we're not going to talk about that. But yeah, let's wait and see what happens further in the week before, and we'll maybe discuss it, and we'll maybe do another if there's a lot of interesting things. Do this next Friday if Canaman's free, and if there's anything really interesting to talk about.
Yeah. Also, guys, just go and do yourself a favor. If just go and breeze through, and when I say breeze through, just skip through the dev server stream. You'll get a general idea for some of the stuff, and also the dev server itself should be live by now, if I'm not mistaken. So if you want to go and give that a go, just go and install it. If you've installed via Gaijin, your actual game War Thunder, if you've installed it via Gaijin, you can just go into the settings of the launcher and change it to dev server. And you can also do the dev server download from Gaijin, even if you have it on Steam. You just have to Google it, and it'll take you through a whole bunch of things. So that's how you do that. All right, guys, please have a good one. Look after yourselves, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming and watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not sure what the statistics are. Let me quickly have a look. 19
Bye,
people.
Donkey Mensa.
Thank you so much. Don't forget to hit that like, comment, share, and subscribe. Go check Canaman's Gaming's channel. Below, he covers a lot of War Thunder stuff and a lot of other stuff. And I think he's got a second channel. What's your second channel?
Heroes, Hobbits, and Starships. Don't put me on the spot like that. I almost forgot.
Okay, he covers a lot of Star Wars things over there and fantasy things like Lord of the Rings and that over there. So go give it a check out there. But link to his main channel is War Thunder channel, the only channel I've got the link to at the moment, because I also forgot the second channel to link it. So go check him out
Don't
there.
worry, sir.
But I'll have it all planned out next time. So yeah, thanks so much, ladies and
Have a good one,
gentlemen.
guys.
Keep well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.